In one of my last videos, I covered where to get silicone baby dolls. And in this video, I'll discuss whether or not they're the doll that you're looking for and who their primary audience is. I'm going to go over general reasons why these dolls may not be a great fit for really young people or maybe even really elderly people. The first reason why these might not be the best doll you should get for a kid who is maybe irresponsible or too little to manage their toys in a non-destructive way, for a lack of a better way to put that. These dolls have hair that is put in by hand, and every time you brush the hair or it gets pulled, whether by Velcro or on accident or however it gets pulled, little pieces of their hair will come out. So it deroots them. This can happen even to adults that have these dolls. Also, the eyelashes, they look so pretty, but they were also hand put into most of these dolls. This one has eyelashes too. But if a child is playing maybe too roughly or every day rubbing the doll or petting the doll or carrying it around, the eyelashes, just like the hair, can deroot and come out. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that when they have blushing and mottling and veins put on their skin and someone is petting or rubbing or carrying the doll around, these features can be worn off or rubbed off. And also, like this indention, they get indentions because this material is so delicate and squishy. So if you accidentally lay something heavy or plastic and hard on the doll, it will make indentation marks and blunt lines into the doll, and these do not always come out. Another point I would like to make about these dolls is that their eye chips can come out too. And I'm sure some children would pull the eyes out and then maybe misplace them or lose them, and then their doll doesn't have eyes. And not only is the body prone to getting indentions and the paint can be rubbed and pulled off, but also they're very stretchy, which means it might be tempting to pull too long and hard and accidentally rip or tear a doll's limb off. Or maybe they pick the doll up by their head and the neck is not stable and the head snaps off. That can happen. I had a doll when I was little, the head came off because I carried her everywhere. My mom blamed my cousin because I was rather gentle, but I think it was just from maybe carrying the doll, and maybe I had picked her up by her head. I can't remember, but probably. That was my twin doll who was vinyl and cloth bodied though, so that's much more durable than these squishy silicone dolls that show blemishes and can be pulled apart quite literally. I want to show you guys how it can be difficult to dress these dolls, especially for tiny hands. For younger people or for elderly people, because I know a lot of people like to buy their moms and grandmas dolls for therapy purposes, which is awesome, but just know that silicone dolls will last a lot longer and do better if they have mittens on, so you don't accidentally pull off a finger when you're dressing the doll. That will help. And also, take your time. So if you have a child or an older adult in your life who will take time and can carefully change the doll, then that's great. I would also say avoid leaving the dolls in zippers and metal buttons like this that don't have protection on the back of them, because these can leave indentation impressions down in the silicone, and yeah, they don't always come out, as you've seen on a couple of my dolls. So also be thinking about where you're going to store the doll. Make sure you store the doll not out in the open or down low, because I had boy cousins and boy friends of the family as a kid that would come over, and they would bully my dolls and drive them around in their strollers and try to wreck things, because a lot of the time boys are just like that, you know. And also, if you have socks like this, make sure that they're not too tight, because this will leave an imprint of the ribs from the sock on the baby's ankle. I've had that happen too. So you maybe want to wrap the doll in a blanket naked, or in its diaper, or in a onesie that doesn't have zippers or buttons or anything digging into the doll. And that might be how you want to store the doll, maybe up high in a box on a shelf, out of arm's reach of other little kids who come over. And be extra mindful that the Velcro on hair bows and bibs like this don't pull out the doll's hair, because I've had that happen. This doll doesn't have hair, so it's a-okay. But if you can teach your kid how to be gentle, or maybe they already are naturally gentle. I was a pretty gentle kid for the most part with my dolls. But you know, sometimes you handle things every day and a head or a finger or something is going to come off. It just happens. Just be mindful of that. Oh, and with pacifiers and bottles, whatever you're going to be putting in the baby's mouth, just know you might need to modify the pacifier, because it could also rip or tear the silicone around the mouth. And ask me how I know. This video is meant to be helpful. I'm not trying to tell anyone what they should do, because at the end of the day, you know what will work best for you and your family. And you might decide maybe you just want a really tiny 6-inch silicone baby like this one from Temu. I will say that this is a great option for children. However, the clothes are still a struggle, maybe even more of a struggle to put on, because the doll is just so tiny. And the eyes do come out. The eye chips can come out, so just know that the eyes could be lost. But this is a much cheaper and lighter weight option, because the bigger silicone dolls, like the one I just dressed, she kind of gets me out of breath to pick her up and hold her. But I know I was carrying around Lee Middletons, who are pretty heavy as a kid, and I don't remember struggling, but it must have taken all my might though. So just know that these little lightweight ones, you know, if this arm comes off, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but you would probably be pretty upset if your kid tore a finger or an arm off of a doll that was more expensive. And also the Zuru 5 Surprise, if you can find it in stock or on sale, even better. This is a more durable kind of silicone. I think this would be good for little kids who want a silicone. It's very, very budget friendly. It's still difficult to dress them, but they're probably not going to destroy it the same way as a bigger doll. You have your option of little silicones, and the furniture to the 5 Surprise ones is just so cute too. Also, color transfer is a real thing. The dyes and fabrics, if left on for too long, can show up. They transfer onto the silicone, and I don't even think you can get that out of silicone once it's been accidentally dyed. Like these hot pink pants, I would never leave her in this, because I don't want the hot pink color to come off onto her.
That would be a nightmare.
I hope that this was informative to someone out there. It's important to know the stuff that could go wrong with your silicone babies and what to be conscientious of and cautious of. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to watch my weekly videos. My Patreon is linked below, and we'll see you guys in the next one.